Hi, it's Marty from the Robson Laidler Accelerator team, and as part of our B Corp month, I'm here with Jessica Williams from Just Williams. Hi there, Jess.
Good morning.
Could you tell us a little bit about yourself, first of all, for our listeners and viewers?
Yeah, absolutely. So Just Williams is coming up 9, and we're a sales and marketing agency. And we've also got the Just Williams Sales Academy, which is a customer service and sales training business. Both of businesses are B Corp certified.
That's a fairly unique position to be in, having 2 B Corp certified businesses, isn't it?
It is. We will have to recertify both next year, and Sales Academy kind of fell under Just Williams when we originally did it. So but it is. It's quite a unique position and one I'm proud of.
Good. You get you a cape or something, perhaps.
Maybe.
Sorry, little internal joke there. So we're doing this as part of an awareness for B Corp, what it means to people, why they did it, their journey, not the technical, but more kind of like the what brought you to it. I mean, should we start with when did you first hear about B Corp and what attracted you to it as a...
Yeah, good question, good opening question. It's almost like you've been fueled by mince and dumplings all afternoon.
Yes, I'm well eaten for these things.
So I think... do you know what? I first heard about B Corp at a conference, probably going back 8 years ago now. And again, obviously, knowing B Corp as we do, it was still quite a new thing to the UK.
Yeah.
And then, you kind of hear these things and think, oh yeah, that's interesting, and kind of park it. Going back to 2020, pandemic, and 2021, at that time, obviously we were all under real pressure. We'd had a lot of changes to the business. We were reviewing lots of different things, as we all were.
Yeah.
And I think it changed us. I think I defy anybody that wasn't changed personally and probably professionally to a certain extent as a result of the pandemic and the changes that we had to our lifestyle. And I too was in that position. And at the same time, I think we were looking from the business perspective about, lots of different things. Net zero was a big topic of conversation.
Yeah.
Investors in people was another topic of conversation. There were all these different kind of, platforms.
I think there was different expectations from workforces of their employers as well.
There was.
So this conversation, the wider conversation, was very topical, wasn't it?
It was, and I think you'll know as much as I do. Is we were all kind of in the middle of all these different kind of things, trying to balance it all. And once again, I kind of stumbled upon B Corp in kind of 2020, beginning of 2021, and really looked at the platform in depth and thought, do you know what? This is a framework that covers all these other aspects that I'm thinking of. So rather than doing them in silo, it gives us a really strong framework to look at every aspect of the business and ensure net zero people, all of those different aspects are covered off.
When you say doing in silo, do you mean, I presume you mean rather than looking at environmental footprint, workforce, supply chain, you mean it gave you a framework to look at everything all in one structured way?
Yeah. Rather
than us going away and reinventing the wheel on what it means to be good. But I presume it's both, is it?
It is, and I think there's, as I say, there's some amazing kind of organisations out there, and I've mentioned a couple of them. Whether it's Common Purpose or Investors in People, or there's from an environmental perspective, there's lots of different accreditations that you can get, or membership organisations you can join, and I think that's fantastic. But as a small business, it's very difficult to manage lots of different kind of
certifications
elements of
that.
And what B Corp provided was a comprehensive, wrap-around kind of framework that covered all of those aspects, which is what appealed to us.
You mentioned small business there, and is it worth kind of talking about the utility of that framework for the smaller business?
Yeah. It's comprehensive. If you're going through the B Corp assessment, it's comprehensive, and rightly so. And I think for small businesses, and there's a huge amount of us in the northeast, Tees Valley and the northeast. We are the bread and butter. Of
we employ significantly most of the workforce.
Yeah. We do.
But in quite small numbers though. You give a stat before, it's like the average workforce is 2 or 3
below
people.
3, below 3 across Tees Valley and
the overwhelming majority of businesses are by small, we mean 2 or 3 people.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think, the framework is for B Corp is very comprehensive. And I can imagine it's probably quite daunting for some people. And, it was really daunting for us. And I suppose, at the time, and B Corp obviously in the process of changing things, but, we would potentially go through a very similar process that a very large corporate would. So parts of it felt a little bit like overkill, but, it's really set us for the future.
Also, I'm always a believer that I think if you're a smaller team, you're hopefully more dynamic, flexible, all of those things. The decision, tree is much shorter. You can just say, well, we will do that from now on, or that's a good idea, let's do that.
Yeah.
So I actually think it's probably just a different journey for different size businesses, because the larger businesses have got more peopleized ideas. It's harder to bring change in large places. So whilst it might feel a bit overwhelming as a small business, I think it's arguably easier to then go, yeah, we will just do that.
Yeah,
so those changes will come quicker.
It was, and there's no doubt about that. I basically we'd made the decision, and I'd spoken to lots of people. I'd spoken to you guys. I'd spoken to Sale Creative. Yeah. I'd spoken, because I think there was only about 3 or 4 of you actually in the Northeast when we went through in terms of certified B Corp. So I spoke to every single person and said, right, genuinely give me I'd read the book. We'd got an impact leader to really take us through it. So, I was under no illusions, and I kind of thought, right, this is it. And I knew it was going to have to be me that led it, which was fine. So I remember sitting down, and we'd broken up for Christmas actually in 2021. I started the day with coffee and ended the day with mulled wine. And I thought, yeah, I'll just do the section at a time. And I remember after doing, 2 of the sections thinking, right, we're going on to mulled wine here. This coffee's not strong enough. It was about 5 p.m, so let's not make any judgments. And kind of thinking, wow. And I do recall, the process. But from when we first did the, impact assessment to submission, we did it really quickly. So we did it in 4.5 months, which, like you say, I think you can do that in a small business because you can be more agile, and you can make quicker changes. So, in a way.
Also, if you've got a couple of people who used to say, well, do you think we should do this? Or we are doing this, depending on which way. It should be collaborative rather than dictatorial. But
obviously, always collaborative.
You can just say, what do you think? Should we do that? Would that be a benefit to you? Would you like us to? We can't do everything all at once.
Yeah.
Let's set the priorities, the goals, and like you say, use it as a framework, do enough to get certified, and then use your ongoing commitment to try and improve as you go forward.
Yeah. So we're at a point now, in essence, where one person manages a pillar in the business. So everyone's got, obviously I've got oversight of the whole thing, but then each person manages a different pillar, which is really good, and that's their expertise. And, we've really progressed. If I look at how far we've come, even since kind of January 2022, it's remarkable. And I'm really, really proud of that. And, the difficulty is, to a certain extent, we were already doing quite well at a lot of things. We just didn't necessarily have an audit trail for it.
Yes.
Or a framework or a policy or a platform.
A written document or,
more policies than a
publicly share there's sometimes like, well, we do that. Actually, it's not public, right? Okay, well... So then some of them are the easiest wins, aren't they? Say, well, we're already doing it, and we just need to document it.
Yeah. So, we scored quite well, and obviously we're recertifying, we're like, right, okay. But again, I've gone through everything in the last couple of months, actually, because we'll recertify next year, and just saying, right, guys, this is what we need to do, and this is, everybody's got kind of management of one aspect of it. So, the team have really embodied it, our customers have really embodied it, it's who we are. It is absolutely the culture of the business. And
what's the benefit of that then, Jess? Because people might be sitting there going, well, this all just sounds like a lot of work at the moment.
It is a lot of work. We now embed ESG strategies into every one of our sales and marketing strategies. So, we've significantly enhanced our client's profile.
But you're not doing this in a way to then just be awkward or punitive, or I presume you see a commercial advantage to this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't just mean you sell more, but maybe if you just be that crude, if you've got a happier workforce who feel engaged, that's proven to help you be more successful in business.
Yeah.
And of course, buyers are now looking for these types of things in their supply chain.
Yeah.
So there is a commercial angle to this.
There is, and I'll be
it isn't
really
wasted
frank.
time, is it?
No, it's not, and we didn't do it for that reason. But to be really frank, it's had a positive commercial impact on us. We've won new clients as a result. We've won awards as a result. We have increased our profile as a result. We've increased our supply chain in various kind of guises as a result, and we're now leading in certain areas as a result of it. So ultimately I come from a sales background, so everything's about return on investment. So I would never commit the huge amount of time that it takes, and let's not underestimate that, if I didn't see that there was going to be a commercial gain. Now, the benefit of that is, and we've had these conversations before, it has to be purpose-led profit. So we are making money, and I don't ever apologise for that.
Profit
but it's
is
the way
a
that
key
we
part
make
of,
it. It's the way we make
profit.
it and the way we spend it.
Yeah.
So it has absolutely had, a commercial benefit, and will do. And I'm not ashamed of that, but that's not why we did it. And
but it's not all just hard work. I think it's a fair thing to say. It sounds like a lot of but actually there is a payback in workforce engagement, customer engagement. We've got a lot of people who've reached out and said, oh yeah, we really value what you're doing. The community engagement, it does have an impact, and there's no argument about that.
Yeah, absolutely, it does, and I know we've had a huge impact on our clients by embedding these ESG strategies. We've raised a lot more for charities. Our local supply chain's gone from 25 to nearly 75%, so we've really supported a lot of freelancers in the field that we work in. We're really engaged with our communities now.
It's just by tweaking, so it's even the supply chain is just a simple thing. If you've got a, I can't remember the wording on the question, but it might be something like, if you've got a documented policy for ensuring you, I'll just say buy locally. That's my idiot speak, but it's kind of, it'll say that. And then you say, well, actually we never thought, can we get this locally?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we can, and it's a marginal difference in price, so why would you not support the shop 2 doors down instead of ordering online? It's good because it brings the community
when I said I was
together,
cancelling Amazon Prime was like, my God, what are you doing?
What are we going to do, woman?
How are we possibly? And
how will stuff get you?
Within the next minute. Sometimes I think procuring locally can be more costly, more timely, but actually it's weighing it up against what are the true benefits as to why you're doing it. And sometimes it's not okay to do that. The impact will be too much on the profitability. So it's just constantly weighing it up.
Because there's no compulsion either. That's I don't know if people have that. It's not that you cannot buy anything on Amazon ever again.
No.
If there's no viable alternative.
The account, but
No, but so people might go,
we've got a KPI, so we basically said, right, we were at 23% or something like that of local supply chain. We've got a KPI to get to.
So you're actively trying
absolutely, and all of my KPIs we've got 5 main KPIs as a business, and only one of them is business growth. The rest are around B Corp, so it's fundamentally embedded in the business. This is not a nice thing to do. It's not like a little tick box exercise. This is legally what we've said we're going to do, and so it's gone away from being what I wanted to do for the business, where I want to take the business. This is what the business is.
Did everyone kind of buy into it as easily as you, or did you, without naming names, but did you have people you had to kind of drag a little bit more, or?
Yes and no. I mean, I did the initial assessment, and I think now it's only recently we've assigned a pillar to it to different people. It's normal for the business now. It's who we are, and I think like any change, it takes a while to embed because it's a big change, as you know. It takes a while to embed. I don't think there is resistance there. I think from some of our customers, they didn't quite understand it. They'll some of them, take the mick out of me and go, is it because it's a B Corp? Yeah, it is, and obviously you're doing that because it's a B Corp, because obviously you have to do questionnaires and stuff like that. I'm
also a nice person. Go
Don't
figure.
Judge me. But, they're kind of like, oh yeah, and they can see, what impact we're now having on them. So by building the ESG strategies into their sales and marketing strategy that we write, we're doing it for them. So, we didn't try and change everything overnight, and I think that's really key. Is you can't. There's too much. You've got to kind of do it on a drip feed basis.
Do you think there are people who get put off because they think, well, I'm prepared to put the work in. I think I'm doing most things fairly well in a kind and a good way. I think I'm looking after the community, my workforce anyway. But I think it's people who think, well, I don't want to change too much. Have you spoken to many other providers about? I've spoken to, but I wonder what your feedback is. So people who've became a B Corp or people who are going through it, have they expressed to you how much they had to change?
No, I don't think so. I mean, it is a very comprehensive, exercise to go through.
But do you find that the people say, oh yeah, we had to change loads of things to comply? Or, because my experience has been most people who think about it are already probably doing most of the things they're meant to do.
Yeah. I think you have to be, you have to be, it's a certain way inclined to go through it anyway.
Yeah,
you have to have that mentality.
You can't be a mercenary capitalist.
Absolutely not. You
crushing the weak.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're never going to. You're never going to turn up for that anyway.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
So it attracts a certain demographic. Let's be honest. And so there are there are some people that have had to do an awful lot to get there, and it's taken them 3-4 years to get there. But I think majority of people that are going down this track are that are wanting to do something different, and trying not to change it all overnight is really important.
Yeah, but also you don't have to. It's an important point in case this isn't clear for anyone. There's a minimum score for certification, but there's no compulsion to do everything. It is acceptable to pass and then work.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
What do you find? So you've mentioned the reality that it's helping you commercially in some way, and you briefly mentioned things like awards. What do you think the wider influence then is? Like, what's next for B Corp? What do you feel there's like something coming off the back of this? Can you see a wider good or?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the movement's growing exponentially. You just need to look at the stats in terms of the UK and worldwide to see what's happening. I think the terminology that we're so used to, ESG, is becoming, very well known. People know that, and I think there's a real movement, and we've got some amazing businesses now in the northeast and we're really kind of up in the ante, aren't we, in the northeast. The numbers of certified B Corps is good. And I think it's important to say though, I'm sure you are, advocates for using your business as a force for good. There are other options apart from B Corp. That's
we're not the only game in town.
Absolutely not. But I think there's a real movement and desire for businesses to want to maybe change the way that they do things. Now, maybe not everything, but when we work with lots of clients that submit or have to be on frameworks and submit tenders. ESG is a huge part of that now, and it's not going away. This isn't a tick box exercise, and I'd probably never even heard of impact reporting a few years ago, whereas now you just hear it and see it everywhere. So I think our terminology within the business community is changing. I think our expectations are changing, and the challenges that we've had around, as we've all had, around attrition, staff attrition, etc., has led us down this path. And I think, I know the support I experienced when going through B Corp really made me feel part of the community, and the support I had. And I think that's really important, is that, you don't have to go through the whole B Corp process to get support from us. We all believe in a common good for the business community. And
in fact, some people fill out the assessment just to see what their score is,
which is great.
With never intending
which is a
to
great
actually,
starting point.
Just get your score, see where you are. And then just do your own thing. It'll tell you the things to work on, whether you want the certification or not.
Yeah, it is, and I think that's the key thing, isn't it? Is that B Corp as a movement, and B Corp themselves say that they one day they hope not to have to exist. Which is the most remarkable thing from a business perspective you've ever heard, because actually they want every business to
put themselves out of
absolutely, which is crazy from that world we're in. But that says it all to me, is that, and again, the Better Business Act, there's lots of things out there, is fundamentally, and I think this is so key, is that somebody said this to me the other day, is, so you're just a charity. No, we're not a charity. There's nothing wrong with charities. It's not that we don't believe in making profit, it's just the way that you make it. And, I think it's so important that as business owners, that we support our local communities, we support our people, we support, everything that we do. We have a direct impact on the world around us, on our local economy. Let's stop complaining about it, and let's do something about it.
And again,
sorry, rant over.
No, it's interesting, because I know certainly, just that's bang my head on the table when I go in and see the recycling boxes. In the bin, there's a Coke can in the bin, you're like, that's clearly recycling, and you get frustrated and annoyed, and you think,
we've got a KPI against that.
Oh, so we're now actively, almost but not literally, weighing our recycling, because you need to know that. But you can feel like, do we have to solve the world's issues? No. Start with do the easy bits. Do the easy bits in your own backyard. Sort your own,
And if you think by doing that, as we're doing it in the office, we know that, I know that my team now go home and think about things differently,
of course,
and then they will influence their family. And it's that little drop. And I think sometimes we can all get overwhelmed by the amount that we have to do. But, it's about having those little positive engagements every single day that will change and challenge somebody's mindset. And that's what we're here to do.
And again, if you can't change everything everyone does all at once, but that's not the plan. What do you think's next for you guys then? Because obviously you've got your recertification will come round. What do you see as the wider impact then? So let's say B Corp doesn't need to exist though. I mean, like, what do you think's coming?
Well, obviously there's some changes at B Corp. I mean, for us, we're Just Williams is partnering with Northumbria University, and we're hosting the North's first Responsible Business Conference in September, which is fantastic.
Yeah,
so
exciting.
Obviously we're a keen part of the B socials that are happening in the Northeast.
Next B Social is on
the 30th of April at Scott Logic in Newcastle. And again, I think, point out that's not just for B Corps, that's for anyone that's interested
people want to come
in
and find
actually.
out.
Yeah, absolutely. And so for us, we've got certification, but we're just constantly aiming to make those 1% marginal gains. And I think that's really important. We think, gosh, we've got to score on this, we've got to do on that. Like we said, it's that recycling can. It's those little things. It's buying your coffee from a local producer rather than from wherever. It's the smallest of things that can make the biggest impact. And, I'm a massive believer in those 1% gains. So, we've recently opened all of our training to all of our stakeholders. So, we now offer training kind of once a month that was just for the team, which is now for all of our stakeholders. And we've had a great uptake on that.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, there's loads of little things.
Pick your brain on that a little bit. Yeah. That's really interesting.
We've done that, to be fair, we've done that for the last 5 months now. But again, it's just little things like that. They don't always come, but that's fine, It's
interesting because we had 30 odd people in the room a couple of weeks ago now it would be. And in one of our sprint sessions, as we've called it, and these are all people who were given free training to help them improve their business. I don't think it once occurred to me to invite anything other than customers and prospects. I don't think we reached out to suppliers.
But again, this is where I love the framework, because it challenges you and asks you questions that you never even considered, right? So one of the things
we were doing this again yesterday in our B Corp meeting. It was like, do you think we can tick that box? Or what does that mean exactly?
Yeah.
Oh, we're not quite.
Yeah.
But and again, the reason I said earlier, publicly was one of the things. It's like we do that. We just don't make the result public.
Yeah.
We can. And again, why we do not share if we've done something. It's not about boasting or bragging or trying to guilt people into it. It's just people will clone the things they see around them, won't they? If it becomes a normal behaviour, people will think, oh, well, that's a normal thing to do, let's do it.
It is, and again, it's just kind of getting that business as usual and just getting that. So, the other things that we've done this year is I've done loads of challenges over the last few years.
You've got one coming up, haven't you?
We have. I didn't see your name on it actually,
my knee's shot.
Oh, right,
no,
okay.
it is. I was meant to be doing base camp right now.
Oh, yeah, you were.
But my knee's gone. Yeah, so I'm very disappointed.
Well, I've done loads of challenges I've done 7 marathons, 1 ultra, climb Mont Blanc, all of that in the last kind of 2 years. All for our charity partners, which is great, but we wanted to open it up because we're trying to raise 50 grand for our 10th year for our charity partners. So we've launched the Just Williams Yorkshire 3 Peaks in June.
That's right.
And we've now got...
It was the 3 Peaks last year that did me, so...
Oh, so we're not going to repeat that.
I would love to,
sorry to mention it.
But I probably won't. Do you need a driver though? I'm happy to drive the minibus if you want.
I've got a driver, thank you.
Or I can carry the bait around for the bait stops.
I think we can arrange that.
Yeah, that would
mince
work.
And dumplings.
Yeah, I'll bring some mince and dumplings for the halfway.
So we're trying to do more stuff like that, and we're trying to do, get our clients involved in more charity days. So we've got, we're constantly kind of doing loads of different things, and I think, for us, we want to be an ambassador. We want to showcase that it's accessible for small businesses. It's not just for the corporates.
Yeah.
I think we've always got loads planned. That we've got our big conference, our sales, service, and success press conference at the Common Room in June as well. So yeah, loads going on.
And yeah, none of this sounds like it's terrible. You sound like you're having fun with it as well.
Do you know what? Genuinely,
which isn't a bad thing, is it? If you can enjoy what you're doing.
No, I love what I do, and I think I'm very, very, very lucky to to have both businesses. It's certainly always there's never a dull day. Yeah. It's always a challenge. But B Corp gives us that framework to be able to kind of focus on that, and if we can help businesses, if we can help the local community, if we can support charities and doing what we already do, that's great.
Yeah. Good.
It sounds a bit cheesy, doesn't it? Sorry. It's
well,
true.
We'll end there. we'll end on peak cheese before it goes too far. Thank you very much, Jess. It's been an absolute pleasure having you in. I hope you're enjoying this series. And as Jess says, if you've got any interest in B Corp, next event is the 30th of April at the offices of Scott Logic in Newcastle. If you Google, you will find the next event quite easily. Fabulous. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much.
Take care.